Well, that, of course, was the global exclusive with Navya Kumar. However, now let's move on in the show and get you this horrifying tragedy that we've witnessed today and been shocked about. How safe are you when you travel in a bus? Did you just buy a ticket to tragedy? In the last 10 days alone, there have been 2 horrific incidents of buses turning into infernos. This is a family from Nellore. They were on an ill-fated bus. This is Gola Ramesh. With him, you can see his wife, Anusha. Their 2 children. This is 12-year-old Shashank that you can see on your screens. They also had a daughter, a 10-year-old Manyata. Unfortunately, I speak about them in the past tense because the entire family was burnt alive. They were trapped, they were scorched, and they were charred to death. They are just out. 4 out of the 19 lives which were lost inside an AC sleeper bus in which they were traveling, which caught fire in Kurnool. This was their one-way ticket to tragedy. Imagine, you're traveling on a night bus, it's around 2:30 a.m. in the morning, and you're fast asleep. Suddenly, there are screams which jolt you awake, pierce the darkness as flames engulf the bus. You look around to see other passengers scrambling to escape, only to find emergency doors, emergency exits are jammed. This is the horrifying scene that you wake up to. This is exactly what unfolded in bus number DD 019490. These passengers were traveling in the dead of the night. These are the visuals which we are showing you from Kurnool bus tragedy. Passengers who were burnt alive as they slept. Their journey of hope turned into a nightmare, a blazing inferno. They were traveling from Hyderabad to Bengaluru. Families waiting at their destination for smiling faces were instead met with the unimaginable moment of seeing charred bodies. Tonight, we take you through the events that led to this tragic incident, explore why it might have happened, and examine the factors that turned an ordinary journey into a horrifying catastrophe. From Jaisalmer to Kurnool, mind you, it's not just about this one incident. There are several such instances across the history of accidents that we have seen linked to AC buses. How safe are you and how safe are we when we travel in a bus? Are we turning and buying a one-way ticket? Will this bus suddenly turn into a burning furnace? Well, these are some of the questions that we are going to be answering today. Let's first take you through the events in Kurnool and what really caused the accident, that tragic crash which claimed the lives of 19 people. Well, as per the preliminary report as well as eyewitness accounts, they are saying that there was a bus which was in front of the bus. This bike collided with a sleeper bus. And then what happened? The bike's fuel tank ruptured on impact. Following this, there was spilling of petrol all across the road. Now imagine, there's leaking fuel and there is friction due to the tragic crash that we had. Friction due to the accident. This sparked off flames, and this started at the beginning of the bus right in front. Within minutes, the bus's fuel tank also caught fire, then it exploded, and then no one really had any chance left to survive. The fire instantly spread rapidly inside the bus. This was 2:30 a.m. in the morning. Everyone was sleeping. The trapped passengers were sleeping. They did not have any time to react, to respond, to look for a way out. For them, they were sent to their graves and there was no chance left for them to survive. Unfortunately, bus accidents like these are often predictable. So why did so many lives get lost? Let's take you through what went wrong. The series of instances which made this the disaster, the tragedy that it has today become. First, the main door was jammed as per the eyewitness reports. They said that immediately the fire started from the front of the bus, that Inferno moved towards the rest of the bus, towards the back. When they tried the main door was jammed. They tried to exit from the emergency window, but nothing opened because all of it was completely jammed. Then they tried going to the front, to the driver's cabin, but then the door didn't open. All they had, the one way out of that burning bus, was one small window at the back. The passenger who managed to break that said that he got injured when he tried to break that window, first with his shoulder, then with his head, and desperately he leapt off that bus, leapt out of that window. That window, now remember, these are tall buses. That window, as per the passenger, was 8 to 9 feet high. He said that I jumped out. There are a few others who also managed to jump out. Most of them could not. Many of them even got injured when they were jumping up right from the top of that AC sleeper bus onto the ground. But at least their lives were saved. But not too many lives could be saved. 19 of them could not jump out of that one window which was open at the back of the bus. And mind you, this accident happened at 2:30 a.m. When everyone was sleeping. They barely realized what was happening when they woke to the screens. There were minutes, and those minutes were lost while people were trying to understand what happened. And what's worse, the two drivers who were in the cabin of the drivers, the minute there was an accident, the minute they realized that this is a burning inferno, they didn't help. They jumped out and they fled, saved their lives and fled the spot, leaving their passengers to fend for themselves. Listen in to two of the passengers. They recount the horrifying details that they were forced to endure.
दो तीन लोग उठे थे बस पे, सब लोगों को जगाया, फिर फायर करके बोला, मतलब गेट डाउन ऐसा फायर। तो हम लोग आगे से निकलने की कोशिश कर रहे थे। ड्राइवर लोगों को तो पता नहीं था कहाँ पे है। डोर लॉक थे थोड़े, मेन डोर लॉक था, तो वो बीच वाला जो डोर रहता वो ओपन करने की कोशिश किया, वो भी क्लोज था। तो पीछे गए हम लोग, पीछे इमरजेंसी एक विंडो था, डोर नहीं था, हैंडल कुछ भी नहीं था, हैमर नहीं था, तो ऐसी नॉर्मल विंडो था, उसको ब्रेक करा हम लोगों ने। फिर मतलब पंच मारा, किक मारा, फिर ये ऐसे धक्का दिया, हेड बट किया।
శబ్దం బాగా వినిపించింది, చాలా బ్లాస్ట్ సౌండ్ అలా వినిపించే లోపల అందరూ డీ స్లీప్ లో ఉన్నారు. నేను కార్నర్ నుంచి కర్టెన్ స్మాల్ ఓపెన్ చేసి చూసే లోపల సమ్ ఫైరింగ్ ఫ్లో కనిపిస్తున్నది. డ్రైవర్ సీట్ ఒక ఆఫ్ ఉంటే అది ట్రైంగ్ ఓపెన్ చేసింది. ఓపెన్ అవ్వగానే నేను నాతో పాటు ఇంకో నా పక్కన పెట్టుకున్న వాళ్ళు ఒక 3-4 మెంబర్స్ అక్కడ నుంచి మేము అరుచుకుంటూ మేము బయటకు వచ్చేసామండి.
But it also appears that this particular bus had been under scrutiny multiple times before. But no one acted against either the operators or the drivers, accumulating a staggering 16 challans on this one bus alone. This is the bus number DD019490. This is the list of 16 different challans that it has managed to acquire in a few years alone. There were 9 of these challans for no entry. There were 2 of these for dangerous driving. And then there were 5 for wrong parking and also for wrongfully blocking the road. And this, mind you, were in the last 2 years alone, 2024, 2025. There were 16 challans on that bus. But yet, it was allowed to operate risking the lives of all the passengers and all the trips it has done in the last 2 years. So could this fault also perhaps lie in how these buses are designed? Remember, it's not just about negligence. Yes, it is about negligence, but there are also other intrinsic problems that we are not looking at. When a tragedy like this strikes, we must know what went wrong to ensure it does not happen again. We must not overlook the role of the driver fatigue in incidents like this, along with several others. But let's look at the design of an AC sleeper bus. Now, any one of you who's traveled in one of these intercity AC Volvo buses, in a intercity or any other bus, AC sleeper buses, would know exactly how narrow these galleries are. You have usually a 2+1, which is why you have beds. Now, there is enough place for you to sleep. However, if you see how narrow the passage is, there is only enough place for one person to go there at a time. Imagine what happens in these narrow galleries when there is a stampede-like situation because there is fire on the bus. Only one person can pass. Another problem, which I was telling you earlier, these buses are very, very high. 8 to 9 feet high buses, all of them. So if the bus tilts over, imagine what happens. It's very easy for a bus of this height to tilt over. Everything on one side of the bus will be blocked. There'll be no exits, no emergency exits, no windows also which are going to be available for anyone to try and jump out. And God forbid a tragedy does strike. Imagine the rescue operations, how difficult it is, because they'll have to climb all the way up 8 to 9 feet high to enter the bus to try and rescue someone. If rescue operations are made so difficult, we lose more lives. And it is a problem. It is a problem which needs to be looked into. Solutions need to be delivered. Another problem in India, this is driver fatigue. Drivers who are driving. Remember, some of these journeys are as long as 10,000 kilometers. Most of them have about 2 drivers. But this is an interesting survey which was conducted by the Transport Ministry in 2018. In that survey, these were drivers across 25 states who were surveyed, who were interviewed, and 25% of the drivers have admitted that they have fallen asleep behind the wheel of the bus, that they are so tired, especially in the dark of the night, that they doze off. 25%. Imagine, 25 out of 100 times that the bus that you are sleeping in, the driver has admitted that yes, we have dozed off in the past. Let that sink in. What do they say? Well, there are modern buses which have these checks and balances. For example, you have a drowsiness alert system. However, here's the problem. There is a drowsiness alert system, but who's monitoring it? Who's acting upon it? If drivers are found to be dozing off, it's not just about installing it, it's also about ensuring that it is being monitored, that it is being reviewed, and that is not happening. Another big problem, the short response time. Well, road safety experts say that if an accident happens, all you have is 2 minutes. 2 minutes of response time, which is going to determine whether you live or whether you die. In those 2 minutes, especially in an accident which is happening in the dark of the night, which is happening in the middle of the night, people are sleeping. The chances of fatalities increase because in 2 minutes, what's 2 minutes? For you to wake up, find out what's happening around you, to think of a solution, to figure out which way to run and how to save your family. 2 minutes is too less a time, especially in the dark of the night, especially when the passengers are sleeping. Unfortunately, viewers, accidents like these are not isolated. They seem to occur regularly and almost always result in high casualty counts. Sample this, for example. All the bus tragedies that we have seen in India, we are just going to relive a few of them. October 2022, you had the tragedy which had happened on a sleeper bus which was traveling from Yavatmal to Mumbai. In this, the bus collided with a trailer, 12 people were killed. In July 2023, you had the Samruddhi Highway tragedy where a bus hit a divider, then it caught fire. 25 people, 25 innocent lives were lost in this. November 2023, you had the Jaipur-Delhi sleeper bus which caught fire, which was very close to Gurugram. In this place, 2 people were killed. In October 2025, I was telling you earlier about the Jaisalmer-Jodhpur sleeper bus. You can see the visuals of how it caught fire, dangerous that it looks. It caught fire and it continued to move. The driver could not stop the bus, continued to move. 20 people were killed in that. And now, of course, was the latest one coming in from Hyderabad, where 19 people, at least 19 people have already lost their lives. But it's not just the buses, viewers. According to the NCRB data, autos, cars, other vehicles too have contributed to fatal highway accidents as well. For example, the number of bus and taxi auto accidents have been 41 and the number of deaths have been 40. The next one, private cars. Accidents, the number of accidents have been 84, the number of deaths have been 62 because, of course, there are way more private cars than there are the public services. Then you have trucks and lorries. The number of accidents have been 46. The number of deaths related to truck and lorry accidents have been 44. Very, very fatal. But here's the interesting bit. Should we live like this forever and say, never again, but essentially thinking, chalta hai? Sleeper buses originated in Western countries. They initially were used only by entertainers who were traveling between cities. Over time, they became common for general passenger transport as well. However, repeated accidents have prompted most of the countries to phase out sleeper buses. For example, in China, it has a complete ban since 2012. It faced 13 sleeper bus related accidents after 2009, resulting in 252 deaths. It subsequently banned the new registrations of sleeper buses, although older buses continued operating. In 2012 alone in China, there were at least 3 such sleeper bus accidents, and this killed 62 people, and all of this occurred at night. The second country which has some kind of a curb is a city, the Ho Chi Minh city in Vietnam. The government there has banned sleeper buses from entering the inner city. This is with specific timings, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. But this, of course, is just a restriction. It's not a full ban on sleeper buses altogether. And in India, of course, there are no such bans, no such curbs, and no such restrictions. So we ask you, is it safe to continue traveling in AC sleeper buses? Perhaps the norms need to be looked into. Checks and curbs are required so that no other family needs to go in this manner. We leave you with that thought to think about. Thank you so much for watching. A short break.